I mean, I love talking about my mistakes. I mean, do you like hearing about other people's mistakes like I do?
I mean, for me, that's how you learn. Like even my own
Absolutely.
mistakes. Like I learn way more for mistakes and things I messed up on, things I've done right. Like, you can't
Absolutely.
learn
Hands
from
down.
perfection. So I'm excited to have you on. I will do my introduction. I'll let you introduce yourself. But what I feel like the fun thing about this show is I feel like you are indicative of like what America is right now. And I mean that in the best of way, meaning like, we're gonna get into all the details in your story, but here you are like have a school education background. And then on social media, you are like makeup and fashion and glamour. And those are people on the surface would think those are diametrically opposed, but especially in the Northwest because we don't have fashion, right? And especially not in the educational sphere. So I
No,
definitely want to get into
no,
that.
no,
So
no.
so
Yeah.
let actually, you know what? Let me back up. I need to pay bills. So this show is sponsored by Chase Motorsports, August 30th. It is like the best of both worlds between like fashion, lifestyle, cars, food. Use the code Lifestylest. I'll put it in the code right now. I'll put a link there, 15% off. I'm going to fly back to Portland to be there. It's going to be like Ferraris. You can get on the track and foods. That's amazing. But now that we're through with that, so yeah, so tell the people about yourself, who you are, and yeah, just we'll get into your story.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you first and foremost for having me on. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to finally meet you, even
Right?
though it's through a screen. My name is Jessica Loren, and I feel like my story is very relatable to the average person, and I hope what I say today kind of resonates with some of your viewers. But yeah, so my background is I have a degree in education. I've been a school counselor for 20 years.
When did you start?
What's that?
That's not possible. When did you start?
My first year was
You started like in high school?
no, the year 99 2000 was my very first year.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, so I mean that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years, but I've always had this side of me that was always into fashion, into hair, into makeup. So I've always had that kind of as my side passion and things that I would just love dabbling in that. So yeah, so that's my story. And I'm also a mom of 2 boys, and I'm a wife. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I mean, and that's why, like I said, it's fun to have you on because I feel like you do represent a lot of people, right? And especially of this time, because you have a lot of people that are passionate about other things. They have their typical 9 to 5, if you will, pre-COVID, but they still wanted to get their passion out. They still wanted to get their art out, if you will, and whatever they were passionate about. And you're someone that's done that. Now, even fast forward, now that we're still in COVID, like people are like, oh, maybe my 9 to 5 isn't available, wasn't working. How do I really lean into my side hustle, my passion? And so talk about that because you didn't have to do it. You were in a position, but it's obviously something you're passionate about. What was it like? And take me back when you still like, okay, this is something that's like a hobby, but now I'm going to start really doing this more regularly and showcasing my talent.
Yeah, so honestly, things really started to kick into gear for me and move at fast forward pace when I signed on with the makeup company a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, this is hilarious. Prior to that, I did not have a Facebook account. I did not do Instagram. I had no social media, only because I was always really protective of my students watching what I did in my personal life or following me. You hear horror stories like that. So, yeah. I mean, I didn't even have MySpace back in the day. So, when I signed on with this makeup company and things,
and this is
really
how long ago again? How long? I know you mentioned how long ago was this?
2 years ago.
Okay, so just recently, essentially.
So this is recent, yeah. Yeah. So oh man, where should I start? So things started just really picking up with makeup.
Yeah.
And ladies were just like super interested in it. And I thought, you know what, I have to get on social media. Like I have to bite the bullet and do
Yeah.
this. And I kind of wanted to, but I was really, really scared because I didn't grow up with social media.
Mhm.
And I mean, I soon found out that you have to really learn the culture of Facebook, and the culture of Instagram is different than the culture of Facebook. And I just kind of had to navigate my way through that. And
Yeah.
I made mistakes. I mean, everybody does, but I just started really deciding. I got to a point in my life where I'm like, I don't really care what people think. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I want to do what feels right for me. And that's just when I said, what do I have to lose, right? What do I have to lose? So I just started I started with Facebook first, and I started posting before and after shots of ladies of makeup that I've done. And then I tagged them. And then their friends saw the posts and were interested. And then so-and-so would have a party, and then all their friends would be interested. And it just started snowballing like that for me. And then it got to the point where I turned my home library into a makeup studio. So then ladies started coming over and having consultations with me here in my house.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'm riding the wave, basically. I'm just riding the wave.
So I want to talk about that. Actually, you know, what's funny is people don't believe it, but we're similar in that regard. So, I mean, I did have a MySpace. I did have a Facebook, you know, when it was going on in the heyday, but I actually didn't like social media at all. Like now people don't realize I share a lot of myself, but I'm so uninterested usually in what people in their private life, and I'm super secretive within my private life. So I wasn't one to share a lot. And it became similar. Like I was like, okay, well, this is my mindset shifted when I was like, okay, social media and marketing is a tool for me to then create and achieve my legacy, right? And so it was a necessary like evil. And I was like, so I'm gonna lean into it heavy. And then I started doing it a lot. And then because, you know, then you start liking it. But you also talked about the culture of the platforms, which I think is super important because a lot of people, they just think, okay, especially people that might be getting onto it now, right? They're like, oh crap, I don't have a presence. I need to make up for lost time, which you can't ever do, but I'm just going to take everything I have and make it the same for every platform. And I'm saying cut and paste, copy and paste, and be like, okay, what I put on Instagram is going to be LinkedIn and Facebook and TikTok. So talk about actually recognizing the differences in the platforms and what you saw, and maybe some of the things but some of the mistakes you made until you realize like, oh, I need to speak a little bit differently on Instagram than I do on Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, I love talking about my mistakes. I mean, do you like hearing about other people's mistakes like I do?
I mean, for me, that's how you learn. Like even my own mistakes. Like I learn way more for mistakes and things I messed up on, things I've done right. Like, you can't learn from perfection. Like or not perfection, but you can't learn from when you get stuff right. So like I'm my biggest critic, 1000%. Like I look for, I'm like, yeah, okay, it was okay, but what did I say? Like I'm looking at these even like I said the same word too often, or like I literally like I scold myself over all the little things I do wrong. So
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I think we all are.
Yeah.
But like when I'm listening to a webinar or I'm listening to a podcast and these experts can talk about everything that they're doing and I can like clean the house or do the dishes. But when they talk about the mistakes they've made, I literally stop in my tracks and my ears perk up. And I'm like, I learned to more from, not in ill will. I'm not happy that they made mistakes. I just don't want to make the same ones they've made, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the culture for me, it's been really tricky to navigate. I honestly, it's weird. Most of my business with the makeup comes from my friends on Facebook.
Okay.
But my creative outlet and my artistic outlet is on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Now for me, I how should I say this? So I'm new to like stories. Like for the longest time, I didn't watch stories. I didn't create stories. I'm like, what are stories? Like, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then about, I don't know, like within the last 6 months, I've really tried to throw things into stories. And my hope is that my viewers will get to know me through my stories, not my post, but through my stories. Like in my stories at any given time, you can not only see what I'm doing throughout the day, but you're going to see what music I'm listening to. You're going to see what pictures inspire me. I mean, all those types. You're going to see memes that I think are funny.
Yeah.
So my hope is that in my stories, you see what inspires me, but through my feed, I hopefully inspire you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna have to pull that out because that's a great gem. I think the things you touched on was so amazing that you can curate it different aspects of the different platforms, even within the platforms themselves. Like for me, I realized because when I was doing wardrobe styling and essentially image consulting, my target demographic was executives, salespeople, entrepreneurs, et cetera, et cetera. So I gained clientele from LinkedIn because that is a more affluent platform. The tonality of the platform is more business-like. But because from the general public, I was still on Instagram and Facebook, primarily Instagram, because I was still connected to fashion. And so I think it's important for people to realize, like, A, where do you go to, maybe in your case, to get your creativity out versus where you're actually generating income? For me, where do you go to create income, but also where you're staying relevant within the industry, and also where your future clients might be, within that. So I totally dig on that. So what are the platforms you're using now? Are you still Facebook, Instagram? Are you using some of the other ones, or what are your favorite? Are you on TikTok? Like, what's your thoughts on the different?
Yeah. So right now, I'm definitely most active on Instagram, and I have a private Facebook beauty group.
Okay.
And I'm posting all the time. And that's where my clients go, potential clients, that type of thing. I rarely post.
I'm going to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rarely post on my regular feed on Facebook, just for various reasons. But like my beauty group is kind of my baby. That's my thing. I don't feel bad about posting 2-3 times a day in my beauty group because I know all those ladies are interested in it. They want to hear it. And I don't post just about makeup either in that beauty group. Gotcha. It is a wide range of everything. And guess what? If I find a product I like that is not the brand name of what I'm selling, that's okay. I share it anyway because I love it. So I want them to trust me that I'm going to guide them in the right direction. So I love my beauty group in Facebook, and I love my Instagram. I do have a profile on TikTok. I don't have any videos yet. I want to do videos. I'm a little bit intimidated though. You pull up TikTok and there's like so many buttons. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make one yet. I'm not into the funny dances. You're not going to see me do that. Yeah. But I have some ideas for quick makeup tutorials that I can do on TikTok. Gotcha. So.
No, I think that's great. I want to talk about two things that you mentioned, and I just want to get to the tacticals. People that are watching, they're going to watch this, afterwards. They're going to be like, okay, how do I post? How do I scale my brand? How do I generate income? One, you talked about the quantity of post. So how do you discern it? How do you determine how often are you posting? Like you mentioned a few times on your private Facebook page, because I feel like one thing people need to realize, especially now, like there's so much noise in the marketplace, it requires an abundance of content to stay top of mind. That's the great thing about stories and some of these other things where you can actually just capture your day. People can get to know you as a person, but you're staying top of mind, because if you don't post consistently, like we're getting inundated with so much information, they're going to forget about you, unfortunately. So how many times do you post a day? And then how are you staying active and current across the platforms?
Well, in my beauty group, I could post, I try to post at least once a day. It can be as much as 3 times a day, depending on what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
On Instagram, I try to keep my stories up nonstop. I try to make sure my bubble is not grayed out. I should have a story on all the time. Yeah. Right. And then for my feed in Instagram, I've slowed down a little bit just because it's summer. I've been on the go. But like today, for example, I should batch my stuff. Like I'll probably talk about our interview. I should do an outfit post. I might do some makeup today. I'm already dressed up. I might as well.
You might as well.
I might as well kill 3 birds with 1 stone, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
No, that, I mean, it can continue, but I just have to say, like I tell people all the time, like quantity of posts is not a timing issue. Like it's a strategy issue. Like
it is.
maximize the opportunity. Like you just said, like I'm dressed up, I have makeup, I have an outfit. That's 3
Yeah.
posts that can live on 3 different platforms, not just
Absolutely.
counting the story. So maximize your time.
You have to batch it.
Yeah.
Or you're spending your whole day. I mean, for those of us that work outside of our homes, I mean, we have to do that. Like sometimes on weekends, I'll do multiple outfits and just span them out throughout the month. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have time to do something every single day like that.
So almost like you're saying, like you said batches. So you almost like create like your creative days where you're like, okay, Saturday, I have a 2-hour window. I'm going to do X number of outfits, and then that will last me, and I can bleed those out throughout the next couple weeks.
Absolutely.
And I'm showing up consistently with new content all the time.
Yeah.
Now,
I
who
might
takes
I might change my hair a little bit, pull
Yeah.
it back, whatever.
Who does your photos?
So a lot of times my son will do them.
See, I literally just on my last, I don't know if you caught it. I think I said like I think I'm actually gonna start dating a photographer, videographer.
Yeah, I know.
Like that, like when COVID's over, like I'm gonna be like, that's what I'm gonna do. And then my content is gonna just take off. Cause like, look, that is the greatest business investment I could ever make.
We all need a photographer in our lives. We all do. I mean, he's just a stand-in for me. Sometimes I have a tripod.
Okay.
You know, I just kind of make it work.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a little suction cup thing for my phone. I can stick it on the wall, stick it on the window, whatever. I just make it work.
And that's the thing people don't realize. Like, it doesn't take a lot. Like, with our phones now, literally, you can really create some pretty amazing things without a lot of background and expertise. And so, literally, there's no excuses. Talk about fashion, right? Because I know that's a big part of you. You know, I love fashion.
That's your wheelhouse.
No, you know what? So, I was actually talking to, I'm her mentor. So, like, not an intern, but anyways, like someone. So, we were talking last night, and she was like, when are you going to do a fashion workshop? Because I'm doing the branding workshops, and as part of my package is fashion. And I'm like, well, I could do that all day, but people aren't really going out right now. I was like, I'm actually going to put a poll up on IG. Like, should I do it now or should I wait, before I actually do the fashion workshop? But I can't wait to do that. So yeah, I love it. But obviously you love it too. So talk about that with it as it relates to your brand, as it relates to your influence, and as it relates to just the connections you make.
Yeah, so I have always been into fashion, and sometimes I tell people this and they don't believe me, but it's the honest to God truth. Like, I remember outfits that I wore as early as like kindergarten and first grade. Like, I remember certain outfits that were like my favorites throughout the years, right?
I can go back in time and I can remember events based upon the outfit. Yeah. I can be like, I'll be like, I was wearing this and then I was doing this. Like, the outfit comes first and then it goes to like, oh, I'm doing this activity or these shoes, or I changed this shoe. Or I remember like a pair of Jordans I had when I was like in second grade, because we had like a Carolina blue YMCA shirt, and I had these white Carolina blue Jordans and white shorts, like legit.
I know it is. And like, you tell some people that and they can't even remember what they wore last week. And I'm like, it's just so funny how our minds, So anyways, when I grew up in Montana.
Okay.
And that is definitely removed from fashion, Yeah. But where I grew up was near the Canadian border.
Okay.
So as a family, we went to Canada all the dang time. And I mean, I spent time in Lethbridge, Calgary, Edmonton. And that's where I really got bitten by the fashion bug, because I will say this to this day, those Canadian fashionistas, they got it going on. They know what's up there. And so I would see what the fashion was up there and, try to duplicate it. And still to this day, I really feel like I dress kind of like how I was influenced. I
Yeah.
really like that look, and I've carried it throughout my whole life. I mean, trends change, but like the basics are still there, you know?
Well, for me, it's style over fashion, right?
Mhm.
Style is more personal. And it's a funny story. I've told this like in presentations. So when I was in high school, similar story, like Portland, let's be honest, like it might be big and considered a city. I still think it's a town. But by all means, in the 90s, it was a town. There wasn't like a lot of options as far as clothing. And I draw a lot of my inspiration from like music videos and just the fact that identity
Yeah.
within fashion. So I would want to go other places. So when I got in high school, I actually had my parents take me to Seattle, which I thought was like a bigger city and had more
Yeah.
options, more metropolitan. We'd actually go school clothes shopping in Seattle. A, because they had more items, but also because I didn't want to look like anybody else in Portland. So then I came back to school and I was like, I was different from everyone else.
Yep. Same. I would
Yeah.
get all my school clothes in Canada just because I didn't want anybody, I knew nobody else would be wearing that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of funny how that works. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, well, I think we just talked about, we were just talking about just your love of fashion. And for me, it was like, how does it relate to your brand? Because obviously you do makeup, so that's beauty and everything else too. I would imagine your fashion. So let me actually go back. When I did image consulting, people think that I'm going to dress you like how I dress myself. And it's like, no, your brand is different than mine, right? But whatever your brand is, your outward style should be indicative or should be a tale of what your actual brand is. Maybe it's the type of products you're selling or your personality or whatever. And a lot of people, whether you are intentional about that or not, they're drawing that from what you're wearing, right? They're looking at what you're wearing and they're like, oh, he's like this, she's like this is what they're into. And so taking that to you and you being fashionable, I imagine your fashion and your style sense is congruent with your makeup, your personality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So how does that,
Exactly.
from that, how does that, whether you do it intentionally or unintentionally, how does your fashion like heighten and elevate your actual brand and the products that you're selling?
Well, I think part of it was when I first started with the makeup, I made the mistake of posting all about makeup. And I made the mistake of having the makeup name in my handle. And then I eventually cut that out. And then I also made the mistake of posting stock photos from the company. I mean, nobody wants to see that, right? But I
No.
thought that's what I was supposed to do. But as things started rolling, I started posting more things. I realized, number one, I mean, the company that I'm with is called Mascara Beauty, but that's not my brand. Like that's, like, I think that's what I think that's a common mistake people make. They think whatever they're selling, that's their brand. And I realize that's not my brand. Like, I am me and I'm my own brand. So I need to start posting things that I love. And I love fashion. And I just decided, you know what, my hope is to inspire other people. I don't post outfits because I want everybody to see what's in my closet. I don't do it for that. I do it, just to inspire other women on putting outfits together. In fact, a friend of mine, a couple of years, I think this sparked it. A friend of mine asked me, hey, can you come over to my closet and can you put some outfits together for me? And I'm like, yeah, I love doing stuff like that. So I went to her closet and I started pulling things and matching things up. And she was clueless. She was like, I would have never thought to put these things together. And it occurred to me that that's something not everybody has,
No,
But
not
I will
even
tell you this.
close.
She's an amazing cook. So if she and I were in the kitchen and somebody threw out 20 ingredients, she could whip out a gourmet meal like nobody's business. I couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think I just started realizing that fashion is something like not everybody gets, but everybody kind of wants to look nice. And, so that's, I just decided. And then the other thing is like turning 40, like I know I had heard this growing up, but it's so true. Like once you get into your 40s, you just stop caring what people think, I
Yeah.
used to be so afraid in my 20s about, you know, what people would think, what would my coworkers think if I, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then I'm like, I'm just going to be me. I really don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm having fun. I'm following my passion. And hopefully that inspires other people.
No, and I feel like it does. I feel like in the root, like your authenticity is what's inspirational. Like I put my post, my YouTube that went out today, it was like, you know, passion is your influence. You know what I mean? And what's unique about yourself and what you enjoy and what is, you know, uniquely you essentially is that's what people gravitate towards. And the more you can lean into yourself, the more you can actually, your brand kind of punches through and you can like your tribe finds you. I feel like with nowadays in social media, like there's so many different options and so many different opportunities to connect to people. Like all you have to do is be authentic, and the people that will be connected to you or drawn to you will find you. Like they'll find, I mean, there's things you can do, but essentially there's an audience for everyone.
Yep. And that's exactly what I tell people. I'm like, okay, you guys, if you're a creative, please get out there. Please put yourself out there. We need you. Like where would we be in this pandemic without the arts? And I'm talking like movies and music and even stand-up comedy and makeup. I mean, where would we be without the arts? So if you're a creative, put yourself out there. Your tribe will find you. Like you said, if you're authentic, your tribe will find you.
I mean, essentially, if you're a creator, create at the end of the day. Like create consistently, put out content. And like you said, they definitely will find you. But yeah, I feel like something you talked about, I feel like sometimes things that come easy to you, you don't realize that you're gifted in all the time. Like for me, I've always been into fashion. Like I feel like in some aspects with creativity and art, same with your friend that's cooking, you're kind of born with it. And then like you grow when you get better, and as you get more, you know, reps in, if you will, you heighten the, you know, that skill set, but you're kind of born with it. So you almost take it for granted. And so then you come across people and they're like, they have no clue. Like they have no clue. And for me, when I was doing fashion, I'm like, look, like everyone wants to look good. I don't care what you say, not from like a vanity, you know, perspective or idea, but like from the perspective of like, you look good, you feel good. Why would you not want to look the best version of yourself every day and have that confidence and get that vibe off? And it's like, you're lying to yourself if you don't want to. So maybe you just don't know how to. And because of that, you kind of pushed it to the back burner. But it's like, that's why I was like, okay, let me help you. And then, when they get outfits and people see themselves in the mirror, that was the best part of my job. Is when I'm literally shopping with someone and they see themselves and you can tell like their entire, like a light bulb went off, like their style light bulb went off. And then they're like, I'm a different person.
That's exactly how I feel with the makeup. Like when you say people don't know how, like it's shocking to me. When I meet with ladies and we talk about makeup and I ask them about, you know, why don't you wear makeup? Because women in the Pacific Northwest hardly ever wear makeup.
Yeah.
And
when they don't dress up either.
And they don't dress up. And I'm like, well, why don't you wear makeup?
Yeah.
I mean, you're here with me right now. You obviously want to. You would be shocked. Like, I'm talking ladies in their 40s and 50s. They tell me that nobody ever taught them how. They don't wear makeup because nobody ever taught them how.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about the best part of your job as a stylist is to see them light up, that's exactly how I feel when I put makeup on these ladies. Like, honestly, Brandon, if I talk about it long enough, I get emotional. Like I have cried before.
Yeah.
Because I'm, you know, it's, and that's exactly why I got into the makeup so heavily. Like at first I'm like, well, I'll just share it with friends and family and I'll get my own makeup at a discount. That's initially why I went into it. But then when I started meeting with ladies and looking at the transformation and like really kind of changing their lives, I'm like, oh, I have to do this. It's something changed in me that I didn't expect. And I just went full bore, full gas pedal down. I'm like,
all gas.
Yeah,
So,
all
okay,
gas.
so let's talk about that then. Like, use this time and tell people that don't know you, right, who they're going to watch this. Like, you work for a mascara company, makeup. Like, what all do you do? What does all that include? You say you have people come in and you kind of do like consults. And so what all do you do now? You're doing virtual consults. Like, kind of tell people about what it is that you do.
So everything I was doing pre-COVID, I'm still doing now, just virtually. Okay.
Yeah.
So that involves color matches online, makeup consultations, makeup classes on Facebook, online parties, events, etc. I'm doing everything I was doing before, just virtually.
How is it for you? And I post this on Twitter. I haven't posted it on Instagram yet. And what I said was, imagine if you're doing all the things you've been forced to do because of COVID prior, along with the stuff that you had when you had access to people, where you would be at, right? Because now, sometimes like these chaos creates opportunities, and it requires you to change and adapt and pivot. But at the same time, I feel like going forward, if you can still take some of these skills and skill sets going forward, like it's going to change a lot of industries. So what has COVID caused you to do that you will actually be utilizing going forward, that you might change your entire business practice, or kind of blend the two together?
Yeah. So I really, honestly, I have been forced to really look at technology in a different light.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is because there's this thing called the lipstick effect. I don't know if you've heard about this.
Not familiar.
But GTS, Google this stuff. The lipstick effect, it's a real thing. So in times of economic crisis, cosmetic sales skyrocket.
Got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so with COVID, my business has not slowed down at all. In fact, it has like really gone up, And the psychology behind it is when things happen like recessions, ladies still want to feel good. They still want to wear makeup. They still want to treat themselves to something little, even if they can't afford something big. So cosmetics is like the go-to product. So the other
that makes perfect sense. I mean, there's a psychology, I would say, like in fashion and style, and obviously makeup goes within that. You know what I mean? So like the psychology of wanting to feel good and like manufacturing that feeling, that's one thing you can do with fashion and with makeup. Like you can manufacture that happy feeling at any time and at every economical price point.
Absolutely. And then I also sent a survey out to all of my clients, like right when COVID happened, and 100% of them said when they wear makeup, they get more done around the house. They feel better about themselves. I mean, it just goes hand in hand, right? So with COVID, I really had to focus on the technology more than I have had to before. Also, one thing that happened that I didn't expect, like this was a shocker to me, but it's awesome, is like when pre-COVID, my team was like 7 girls. We had a tight little team. We're like trekking along.
Yeah.
I'm now at 40 girls, and I'm like going, what the heck do I do with these girls? So now I'm really focusing on being a team leader, and I've never had to lead a team before. I've never had to lead anything. Like being in education for 20 years, I mean, you're led by your administrators. I haven't had to lead anybody. So I'm really finding joy in learning how to be a good leader. And I want to nurture these girls and be a good mentor for them. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like that's awesome. That's amazing. I think that's a perfect segue into a few questions we had. And we kind of answered some of them, but we had questions, and I'll put it out there now. People, if you have questions, you can put it in, I'll get it, and I'll ask. But the first question was, how do you keep your brand separate from your personal life, or do you connect the two? I'll let you go first, and then I'll add my 2 cents.
I hope you add your 2 cents, because I really like your thoughts on this one. I think this is an excellent question, and it's one that I've struggled with.
Yeah. And
it's one that I've heard other ladies struggle with. When I first started out, I did not want any of my personal life this was sacred to me. This was my thing. This was something like my outlet, but I do see the value in integrating your personal life, only because it gives your viewers a sense that they know you better, right? It gives them a little insight. I mean, there's connections. Like, some people might not know I'm a mom of 2 boys. But if I start showcasing that, maybe some moms with boys are like, oh, she's a boy mom like me. Like that can be a connection. I have tried to get my family integrated in a little bit, but I'm honest to God, I'm just going to say the truth. My family, they are just so camera shy. Like, I bring out the camera and they scatter like cockroaches. They don't want anything to do with it. But I'm like, to my kids, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, you want to create YouTube videos all day long. You're in front of the kid, but you won't do anything for me. Like, I don't understand it. But my family, they're just camera shy. I mean, I would probably.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on that from a branding point of view?
So from a branding perspective, I think I have a couple of different things I'll add. It's called personal brand for a reason, right? And I feel like ultimately, and I've said this, like, people aren't buying the product or service. I mean, they are, but that's secondary to the person they're working with and the relationships they gather and they build. And so I feel like you should share as much as you feel comfortable with. Now, again, there's no tried or true, or the more you share, the more opportunities you have to connect. But you can filter it. Like, everyone doesn't have to show their family. Like, I'm extremely private, so I don't show my family. But I tell people all the time, like, I get the most DMs and requests when I sing in my car, or when pre-COVID, when I was in Portland going to the gym. Like, those are when people like message me because they can relate to that. You know what I mean? Those are everyday occurrences that everyone could relate to, and then that would be, almost like the way we would connect. And so I feel like with your brand, authenticity is key. You shouldn't change who you are, but the more aspects of yourself that you can showcase, because we aren't one-dimensional, the more opportunities you have to connect. And that would be the door, if you will, or the entry point for them to connect to you, then to use your services or whatever you're offering. So I would say, yes, the more you feel comfortable with showing, you should, because it is a personal brand. And I was doing a conference and someone was asking me, it was a real estate conference. And they were like, should I showcase, homes and in design and fashion, or should I showcase myself? And I'm like, if you build your industry if you build your brand only for the industry you're in, what happens when you leave? Like, you can't take it with you. If you build your personal brand, you can take that anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm always about building your personal brand.
Yeah.
And making it as personal as you feel comfortable. So that's my opinion. Next question we had is, how do you keep your team motivated? And now you have 40 people. You had 7. How do you motivate your team?
So I'm navigating this. And I'm learning that, the golden rule is wrong. Like, we always grew up. Yeah, the golden rule is wrong. We always grew up, treat others as you would like to be treated. How it should say is, treat others how they want to be treated.
Almost like the love languages.
Yeah, we all have different love languages.
Yeah.
I have girls that are motivated by money. So I have cash incentives for them. I have other girls that are motivated by recognition. And so I want to cater to that. I have other girls who just want to be part of a community. They don't really care. They just want to be part of something. So it's navigating what their love language is and catering to that and building relationships with them.
No, I think that's super key. It's no one size fits all. I will say in my context for me, it's a lot of collaborations. It's working with models, it's working with photographers, videographers, doing events and activations, whatever. I'm dealing with a lot of different egos too. So for me, in my context, and how I actually motivate people is, a lot of it is the vernacular I use and over communicating. Like, I'm always like, we and us, and this is a group effort and a team involvement, never I. Even if it's my production, I'm like, what do you think? Like, I try to give them as much opportunity to let themselves be heard in the event or in the process, so they feel like they own it. So for me, when I'm working with models or whatever, I'm always like collaborating and speaking as if it's a team effort. And that's one of the ways I keep them involved in wanting to do more, I guess, if you will. And so far it's worked out well. Last question is, do you have any tips for video lives for beginners?
I do. I do. I do, because I had, prior to this makeup thing, I didn't even like my picture taken. If you look through the history of my family, I'm always the one taking the dang pictures. I'm never really in the pictures. But I knew that I needed to get over that and start doing videos and stuff like that, which it felt so awkward to me. I am not naturally.
So let that be known too. It is actually,
Yes.
it is a learned skill. Like, you don't have to be someone that is naturally like, you can be camera shy and get over it. Like, I know the first time I took photos was extremely uncomfortable, but now it's like, I'm like, where's the camera at? Like, what do we like? I'm ready at all times. Like, just if I find the camera in the vicinity, I'm ready to go. But I was not always that way at all.
Oh God, I can relate to that. So for me, here's what I did. And here's what I would tell. If somebody is listening right now and they're like, hey, I'm interested in selling makeup or whatever it is, say it's anything that you want to do. And by the way, video is where it's at. So it doesn't matter what you're selling. You're going to have to get in front of the camera and do video if you want to be somewhat successful and reach more people. So here's what I did. I started slow and I took baby steps. So the first thing that I did is I got the Marco Polo app. And that's how I started to communicate with people. It's like video walkie-talkie, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I started, I stopped texting. Don't text anymore. Do video. And I still do that to this day. If I've taken a break from video and I'm a little rusty, I'll commit to one solid day of no text messages. All my messaging is through video. Just to kind of, here's what Marco Polo did for me. It got me used to seeing my own face and hearing my own voice. And that's like the biggest hang up people have, is getting used to seeing their face and getting used to hearing their voices. It drives them nuts.
Yeah.
So the more you can get on Marco Polo and just communicate with your friends, family, teammates, whatever, through video, it gets easier and easier. And then the second thing I did is I started doing videos, but like a voiceover. So I wasn't talking. I was just like doing the makeup, and then I would go back and do a voiceover like that, right? And then I started doing regular videos, with my voice. And then the last step was the biggest one for me, and that was a live, because hitting that live button for a lot of people, including me, was really, really scary. So I worked my way from 0 to 10, which for me, the live was the scariest. So.
Yeah, no, I think those are all great tips. I know for me, it was a little bit different. So I'll take on the other aspect of it from a strategy post-production point, because I was thrust into TV. Like, when I launched my company in 2015 for wardrobe branding, like, I was in August 15, I was a part of the show with Rita Dreams. I walked in the show. I went live that night. And then I was also on TV that same month. And so it was literally like no experience to like, you're on live TV. And the great thing about live television is you have to go. Like, there is it's super authentic. Like, if you mispronounce a word, if you lose your train of thought, like, you just keep going. So now when I'm doing video, it's super easy. I will say from a production standpoint and maximizing opportunity, having a strategy going into it, you know what I mean? Even when I'm going to events or whatever, it's like, I know, okay, when we were doing events, I need to get a 15-second clip. I need to take photos. I want to get photos for this many angles. And so then I'm actually the person that's enjoying the event while I've already got 10 pieces of content that I can use. So it's being strategic about that. If you're doing like a live, having some type of format or run of show, especially from the beginning, so you kind of know like a storyline of what you want to ask, how you want to ask it. And then I also just think using video, like you said, as a pillar piece of content, because if you just do the video and you just rely on just that live, it is great. You're going to have an amazing reach. I mean, of all the platforms, they put the onus, they really highlight a live feed, because that's what goes to the top of everyone's platform. They get notifications. However, if you can post-produce it, there's so many aspects of the video that you can repurpose, whether it's clips, whether it's something you said, whether it's something that's funny, whatever, that you can use to drive traffic back to the original video. And it's like what we were talking about earlier, there's so much traffic in the marketplace. The more pieces of content you can take from one piece of large content, the better. And it's just smarter, and it's just more strategic. So those are my
Yeah.
tips on how to
Yeah.
maximize and do lives and video.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, man, I think you covered everything. It's been so fun getting to know you. I actually, you know what?
Hey,
Oh,
what about branded behavior?
I was actually just about to go to that. I was literally just looking down at my notes. That's why I have notes. See, case in point. I do have questions for you. Branded behaviors, which I think is like a quick snapshot.
I can't wait for this.
Yeah. So for you, I try to align it with the person. So here we go, and I think I know some of the answers, but let's start.
Okay, tell the viewers, because some of my people are on, they don't know what branded behavior
Okay,
is.
so what it is, every person I have, obviously this is Brand Talk Live, and it's all branding and business. For every person I have on, I look at like their industry or like their personality, and I ask them like either or questions to expand upon that, you know, what they align with, what their personal brand kind of aligns with and vibes with. So that's what branded behavior is. And it's just like a quick, first thing that comes to your mind, say it. Say it. Okay. So I think I know this one. Leopard print or tiger print?
Oh, leopard.
Okay.
Hands down.
Yeah.
I love leopard print. I always will. In fact, you can't see it behind me, but I have a real leopard taxidermy stuffed head right behind me. I saw it.
So you're serious?
Do you want to? Yeah.
No, I mean, like, you really love it. Like, for me, I'm all about the leopard. Leopard is a staple. Like, it's a staple. I don't wear a lot of brown and black together. It's the one thing that will pull it together. Like, I'm all for leopard, to the point where, because I don't like to look like everyone else, when it became like a trend, I kind of didn't appreciate that as much.
Yeah, I know.
Because then everyone had it. But the flip side was, because everyone had it, there were so many options in leopard. It was like, oh, it was like heaven. And then it was like the best of times and the worst of times all wrapped into one. So because
the type of leopard print matters. Not all leopard print is created equal.
No, it's not all the same at all.
No, it matters.
There's levels. There is levels to leopard print. Sequins or velvet?
Oh man.
I thought this was going to be easy because I'm looking at your jersey, but you know,
I love them both for different reasons, but for today, I got to go with sequins.
Okay, sequins it is. Your go-to outfit, what is it?
Oh, my go-to? Not my favorite, but my go-to?
Your go-to.
So my go-to is, I'm typically in a graphic tee, and I love to dress it up. I love to dress it down. I like to take something classic and just dirty it up.
Gotcha.
A little bit. Yeah. I love opposites.
Yeah.
I love, I love masculine with feminine. I mix it up. I have high end with low end. That's kind of my go-to style. Yeah.
Yeah. I love juxtaposing outfits. I look at fashion as, obviously, for me, as a language. And so for me, when I juxtapose different pieces, when you know what you're doing, you can pull it together. You're able to reach a broader audience at the same time. Like when I'm going somewhere, it's like my shoes, maybe the type of shoe will speak to one person, but the print will speak to somebody else. And then the color of this, and then the jacket of this. Yeah. And so now I'm having 15 conversations with this one outfit, as opposed to one just like monotone, like whatever. So I definitely like juxtaposition. Favorite lip color?
Red. I love a red lip. Okay. Red. It's hot, it's classic, it's never gonna go out of style. I love a red lip.
Speaking of what you talked about that earlier, what's the hottest one right now? What's the hottest lip color since COVID has started? Is it red?
Well, you know, here's the thing with COVID is like the trend of my clients is they want that no makeup look.
Yeah.
They want the natural makeup look. So my clients, they're trending towards the nudes, the naturals, maybe a pop of berry here or there, but for the most part, they're not doing anything statement-wise with their makeup right now.
Gotcha. Right now. You understand the difference of this. So after 5 or black tie?
After 5.
Okay. Why?
I mean, so black tie to me is can be a little too conservative, or I don't want to say stuffy, but
That's what I was thinking, actually. But I love black tie.
What's that?
I love black tie events. Like, I love it. I love it because for me, going to what we talked about earlier, it's that time where I can do black tie. I can do a tux, but I'm going to do it differently. Like, I'm going to do a navy blue or velvet, something, different, an oversized bow tie, something, as opposed to just the traditional black for men, the black tuxedo, whatever. So for me, I like that. And I think with the Northwest, because we aren't dressed up, we need so many specifics when it comes to events and dress code as possible. And so in the Northwest, a black tie actually is after 5. Like, I've had this conversation, like, we really don't have black ties. Like, traditionally, black tie is after 5. Anywhere else in the country, that's after 5, but it's black tie for the Northwest.
Yeah. I just say, and I say this all the time, as long as you're comfortable, it's going to show, whether you're at a black tie event or not. If you're not comfortable in what you're wearing or how you look, but I'll tell you what, if you can just let your hair, who cares, right? Let your hair down. Just do it.
Do what you like. Do what you love. Feel comfortable. Last question, your favorite fashion film?
Fashion film?
Yes.
Oh man, Sex in the City Part 1 and 2, hands down. I
see all the Sex in the City references. I should have knew that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, I love those movies, not only for the storyline, but just the fashion in itself. Yeah.
Well, I think I tell this, I'm sure you heard the story. Like, I started my career watching fashion films, and that's how I learned to style people. Like, I was always like, I innately did fashion. I wasn't going to do women at all. I was just going to do men, because that was easy. And so there was definitely a learning curve having to style women, and they actually end up being the majority of my clientele. But watching movies really kind of let me see the character and how they were portrayed based upon their wardrobe. And so now I can't turn that off. Like, whenever I'm watching a film, I see it from the lens of like a costume designer. And I'm looking at it like, okay, what's going on? How does the outfit actually meet this particular scene and the mood and the person and all that other stuff? And then when it's thrown off, like, I hate it. So I'm always looking for something like lifestyle based when I'm watching film. It's like work and pleasure.
What is your favorite fashion film?
Oh my goodness. That is a good question. A Great Gatsby was a great film. I love the outfits in A Great Gatsby.
Me too.
That's an amazing film for fashion. I would probably say that off the top of my head. I'm a big James Bond fan, so because like Tom Ford did his outfits, like I would always like watch his like Daniel Craig version of James Bond, because of the outfits by Tom Ford, which I love. Like, if I could wear one designer for the rest of my life, it would be Tom Ford. So there you have it. There you have it.
Awesome.
Love it. Well, man, this has been amazing. Let me let you, before we go, plug away. Let everyone know where to find you, what's going on, what's the next events, how they get involved with your Facebook group. I need to ask you questions because I don't know if you've seen the Club BU is coming up.
Yeah, what is that?
I can't. It's
you can't.
It is going to be. I'll say this. It is going to be the masterclass version for branding. So it is going to be everything, every aspect you can think of with branding. There's going to be community aspect of it, and that's going to be the Facebook group. And I'm going to do in-person activations and add things down the road when we get out of this. But even before, it's going to be how-tos, videos, everything that you can think. And I'm big on fashion, so it's going to include fashion. It's going to include social media. It's going to include how to do videos, how to do your makeup, like everything you can think of that's connected to branding. And I'm going to bring on different experts and have them teach. And I have a conference coming up too, but that's another conversation. So I'm pulling my hair out right now.
Nice. I love it. Yay.
Yeah, so exciting times for sure.
That's awesome. Good for you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. So okay, but enough about me. So talk about you. Talk about you.
So if you hopped on late, my name is Jessica Loren. You can find me on Facebook just using my name. I have a private Facebook group. It is Color Enhanced Beauty Crew. But if you can't remember that, just message me and I can give you the link to join. I'm also on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Color Enhance. All of my contact information is there. I love having conversations about color matches or online parties, virtual classes, collaborations, whatever. So don't be afraid to get a hold of me. If anything I said today resonates with you, reach out to me.
Definitely. Well, you said so many good things. The hardest part is going back through and like watching these videos and be like, okay, what do I want to take out? Like I have to stop myself. I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring this and that. So it's like, I didn't have to stop because I'm like doing these videos. Now I'm doing 3 of these a week. I have so much content. Like literally it's like, I can't.
You got content coming out.
I'm like, I have too much. So
hey, that's a great problem to have. Let me tell you.
Oh, well, I just decided I was like, I like doing these formats. I like talking to people. You know what I mean? I like having conversations. I come from the live TV background, and I got I got a gig. I'm doing that thing with Gray Magazine that's coming up, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna host an event that's like branding and lifestyle. Like awesome. So, I mean, it's amazing. It works out. But for me, I can do this all day. Like it gives me energy.
Yeah. So. I mean, you're rocking and rolling.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind.
How much sleep do you get a night?
I mean, I still get like 6-7 hours. You know what this has done, honestly? It's made me super efficient.
Yeah.
Like I say, I know I'm very clear on what I'm saying yes to and what I'm saying no to. And so like sometimes like busyness requires you to be more efficient in what you're doing. And it's almost like freeing because you're very clear on, okay, this doesn't work. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's just like.
It's efficiency.
Yeah.
And time management.
And time management, and I'm not naturally that. So it's good for me. Yeah. And I'm very much scatterbrained. So it makes me like fall within like a guideline.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, so I'm enjoying it, but and I have to, like, I have that event tomorrow. I have a webinar tomorrow, webinar Tuesday, launching brand new on the 18th. And then I want to do the virtual thing end of September. The Great Magazine thing's going to start in a couple of weeks. And so it's just like, I got time.
Woo!
We got time right now. To do it. So
woo!
I'm going to do it.
I'm worn out just thinking about it.
Oh my good. Well, you have 40 people to manage, so you're way busier than me, or as busy. I'm sure.
I kind of got my hands full right now.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's all good.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate you. It was so fun to actually connect virtually, through social media. Like that's the great thing about this. Even before, I can reach people that I haven't been able to meet, people that are in other areas. You know what I mean? So this was super fun. Tons of insight. So thank you for coming on, and want to do it in person when things are back to normal.
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. And you are I just want to say the work that you're doing is amazing. I have loved all your interviews. If I can't catch them live, I catch them on replay. Yeah, they're very entertaining and really insightful. I've learned a lot.
Thank you. Well, coming from you, that means a lot. I appreciate it. I got okay, let's let you talk about that. I've said it before. You dress really nice, right? So I'm sure you get a tons of compliments. When you get a compliment from someone that's actually in fashion, it feels a little bit different, right? You know what I mean? And so for me, like when I get a compliment from someone that's actually in business and doing it, like when I did that webinar, people were like, yo, or a marketing person was like, hey, I actually learned something. Like, you did? Yeah. Like you're a marketing person. So that does actually, I mean, I love it all, but that definitely like resonates and hits a little bit differently. So I appreciate it.
Well, listen, keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. I love it.
Thank you. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Go manage your 40 people and kids and photos and all that other stuff. Get all the photos you can today while you're looking amazing. And
batch it up. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.